Good morning and welcome back to episode 85 of the Coffee Squad podcast. And we kind of have a special guest for those of you who can't see us.
Welcome back.
All right, who's that at my door?
I'm not sure. Who is it? Who's
What's up,
at
Ray?
your door?
I mean,
Hey,
I feel
man.
like it's been about a year since I've seen you.
It kind of has. Man, I think when I think back, I was like episode 1 through 5 or something. And maybe a little bit more than that. But you guys have absolutely been crushing it, man. 85 already. That's crazy. How does it feel to do 85 podcasts, bro?
About the same as I did to do 1 or 2, but a little more comfortable doing it.
Yeah, you feel better now.
I do.
I got to be honest though. I thought you would look better by now. You know what I mean? Like you would have manned up a little bit. That hasn't happened. You still look absolutely the same. So we need to fix that.
Have a face for a radio. I can't.
Well, I don't even know if you have a face for radio, to be honest. I mean, this is why we're doing a podcast, right? And we just got the audio piece, so nobody can actually see us. And those are on YouTube that see us. I'm sure every week they're like, man, can we just maybe we should put like a character. We could do like a Teletubby over the top
I
of
could
you.
do like a cartoon or something, and you know,
Yeah.
maybe we should just animate ourselves. That'd probably cost too much money, though.
Yeah, that would just be weird. I'd be like, oh, never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. I don't know what I would do. It'd be like Barney or something. I'm sure that'd work well. And the gray hairs are not real. I painted these on just so you know. I know you can see it. Nobody else can, but so in fact, I don't have gray hair. I have completely black beard right now. It's all black. It's beautiful. It's majestic.
It's something, all right. I don't know if I would call
Come on,
those
man.
adjectives, but it's something.
Lee, man, I can't get no props from you guys, man. See, this is why I left after episode 5. I was like,
Well,
I'm done with this.
You guys, I think we're short one though.
Well, I mean, yeah, it seems like we're always short, man. If I'm here, he's not here, vice versa. Well, here's the question I have for you. Where is Jake? Is this like a Carmen Sandiego kind of moment? Where is he right now?
I mean, there are a couple of theories out there. He could be on a secret squirrel mission to somewhere in the South Atlantic, possibly Antarctica. I have heard rumors that he is just floating around the Pacific playing with dolphins or whales. Well, I don't know what they have over there.
Okay. All right. So he's out there with Flipper. Okay.
Possibly. Or maybe he's just, at home watching TV.
Listen, I talked to a whole bunch of conspiracy theorists, talked to a whole bunch of them before this because I was just asking them, where's Jake? Some of them believe that he lost his leg in the ocean and that's where he's at right now. He is literally right now still trying to find his leg from a year ago.
Well, it was like 2 years ago, I think, that he actually lost.
Oh, it was like 2 years ago. I think he loses it every time he leaves. That's why he shouldn't leave. He should be here. Like he should stay here. Because if he doesn't, then he's out there playing with Flipper. Next thing you know, leg comes off, shark takes it, off it goes. Or maybe he's fighting a Kraken. Or your dog sounds like the Kraken. You notice I said Kraken, dog bark, man. That was bam.
Yeah,
that was beauty.
Good timing. Well, that's the new hockey team in Seattle. So since I'm a Seattle sports fan, they're the Seattle Kraken. So yeah.
The Seattle Krakens.
I know you've been somewhere doing something for the last year. So you haven't really, it's nice to see you resurface.
Yeah, it's been, it's been good, man. I mean, the one thing that I know we all talked about this a lot, at the beginning of the podcast, man, just, COVID in general. I had an opportunity to work a nonprofit here for the last, well, it's been longer than that, but I definitely stepped my game up a little bit. And it was great, man. I mean, giving back, it's probably, I think you get a full feel of the pandemic when you're living it, right? Just in your personal life and with friends and family. And then, God forgive that, somebody gets sick or somebody gets hurt through it. But I think, working at a nonprofit and seeing those impacted and all of that, man, just gives you a whole new breath of really what a tragedy, we've kind of been in. But I am excited to kind of see what happens next. Now I'm back to this. So I'll be back in the podcast with you guys, which I'm stoked about, to really bring some goodness to this. Not that you guys need it, but you do need my good looks. That's for sure. Cause both you guys, wowzer.
Yeah, you're definitely going to do the heavy lifting on that aspect. So,
but it's going to be good. And then of course, getting back into the, the other side, the business side, which is away from this podcast, which is just the normal business stuff. So stoked about that.
So, in case you guys haven't been able to tell, guys, gals, I don't want to exclude anybody, we are kind of changing up the podcast format a little bit. Ray, why don't you kind of expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when we started this podcast, the idea of it from a group perspective is we're, three different guys that come from three different kind of backgrounds. I mean, obviously we are all military. So, today being Veterans Day, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, obviously, we all have a natural collaboration point. We have something that we can talk about almost immediately. The other part of it is we all lived kind of in that security world, right? So we had that piece of it, but then each one of us comes from a different background outside of that. You come from law enforcement background. I've spent a lot of time in nonprofits. Jake is doing the same thing, right? From a nonprofit standpoint and some of the other things that he has going on in his life. So I think that the podcast more from just being security to where, we've had a lot of really thoughtful guests. I mean, I've been obviously watching the show every week as it comes out, and you guys have had some fabulous speakers and just folks that I think are super impactful in their own right based off wherever they are in their life. And they've come on here. You guys are asking really impactful questions. And sometimes we force security in there just a little bit, to try to make it security. But I think the podcast has turned out to be more than that. I mean, it is Coffee Squad podcast. I'm still wondering why Jake's part of it, because he doesn't drink coffee, which is just weird, right? But I do think moving into that direction of, more news kind of focused with having, what I would say influential guests like we always have on the show, different backgrounds from business to nonprofits to whatever they are onto the show. It kind of allows us to ask questions and not be boxed in as much, because I think at this point, you guys have your own fans that have come here and love it because you guys, and kind of what you guys are. So that's what I think. I'm not sure if you have any other thoughts from your perspective on things that you would like to see as well.
I'm just excited that I have fans. I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah, I pay them all, right?
Oh, well,
and not that much.
Yeah,
it's like $1.50 per person. But
it doesn't cost a lot.
Yeah,
I'm a cheap date.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm paying out like $7 a month. So if you do the math there, that's about where we're at.
About 14 fans each.
Yeah, if that. We don't want to get into numbers. It just makes it weird, and it's just
Gotcha.
then it's really awkward. You know what I mean? Then people feeling get hurt, and we're like, oh, sorry about that. But anyway, yeah. So I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked to see the future of the podcast as we continue to craft it, and I think the actual move will happen probably end of this year, beginning of next year. Like I probably think that first show next year is when it'll really make the leap and the change. But we're going to make those subtle changes moving up to that. So stoked about that. And I'm also interested. I'm taking the mic because I've missed 80 episodes. You know what I mean? I missed 80. But I would be interested also for those that have been listening to the podcast for a long period of time to, put a comment. If you guys have a comment on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, let us know what parts you liked, what parts you didn't like, so that we can, as we're shaping this thing, we make sure that we stay true to really what this thing is turned into at this point. So.
Yeah, we always want to hear from our fans or followers. I prefer followers. I'm not really.
Yeah, they're here because of you, bro.
But hear what we are doing right and what other people like to do. I know we had quite a few comments on some of our YouTube channel, our YouTube videos, which I really appreciate. But like Ray said earlier, it is Veterans Day. I know we had our Veterans podcast last week. It was out this week. You guys can follow back if you haven't listen to it with Kyle Kelly. Is really, really cool episode talking about Operation Open Water and Veterans Day and kind of what it means to us. But we record a few days in advance prior to launching to dropping the podcast. So it is Veterans Day. And as Ray said, we are both veterans. So Ray, why don't you kind of talk about what Veterans Day means to you and the importance of it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and I know we've got viewers from all over the world, right? So it's not, the US has a different definition than, like Canada and UK, where it's Remembrance Day, and we've got lots of other things that are kind of happening. But for me, Veterans Day is pretty simple. We are celebrating those that are living and those that have deceased that have served their country. Just as simple as that. Now, we don't want to take away from Memorial Day. That's a completely different topic of discussion. But that's really what this day is about. Now, UK, Canada, some of the others do Remembrance Day. It's a little bit different for them, right? Because they are remembering those that have ultimately given the ultimate sacrifice. So I think Veterans Day for me is just, it's really trolling people, trolling other veterans that I serve with is usually where I spend most of my time. And then really thanking spouses, because I think that that's the one thing we often forget is, out of this whole thing, yes, the service member serves, they obviously do their part. They go overseas and they do what the country's asked of them. But the spouse allows us to borrow them, because we all know that the spouse usually is the commander, right?
Oh yeah.
Just to be fair. So we also thank them, and then of course their families, just in general. So I think Veterans Day to me has really turned out to be one of celebration more than anything.
Yep.
Remembering those that are here and those that aren't here, in a respectful manner, and just having a really good day to reconnect with friends and colleagues that I serve with that I may not normally talk to a lot, because we all get busy, and unfortunately we have cell phones. And I mean, let me be honest, I've got TV shows and Netflix I got to watch, and sometimes I forget.
You're streaming your video game so much that you really don't, come on.
That's true too. I'm in there playing Hello Kitty. It's a great game, by the way.
You can follow him on Discord at lusciousblackbeard.com or something right now. I don't know.
Majestic. It's Majestic. Blackbeard. You got the word wrong. Luscious. I don't like that word, doesn't it? But back to you, Will. I mean, I know you probably celebrate it a little different yourself. I mean, what do you do kind of on Veterans Day?
Well, unfortunately work most of the time, but I get to see like pictures of when I was in the service with the guys I served with and stuff like that. And that's kind of cool, because like you said, Memorial Day for us in the US is definitely a somber day where we're remembering those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So Veterans Day to me is just kind of reconnect, cracking jokes, like you said. I do have a question for you. How do you feel about being thanked for your service? What are your thoughts on that? Because when people say, "Oh, thank you for your service," I was like, "Oh, it just." I feel awkward. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I am awkward. Let's be honest. So
yeah, I mean, look, I think and a lot of veterans. I hope a lot of veterans comment on that, and I would ask you to comment on this. But I don't take offense to somebody doing that, right? I mean, if I think back when I went to school, it was like a known thing that there's certain holidays that were very precious to our culture, right? Our culture being the US. And then depending on where you go in the US, you have different cultures that are inside of that. And I know for where, kind of where I grew up, that was kind of a big deal, man. I mean, you were kind of taught that, service members, those that serve, that you thank them on this day. Now, did I understand what the meaning of that is as a kid? No, like I didn't. Do I expect everybody to understand, what it's like to serve? No, just like I don't understand what it's like to be an accountant, right? Because I don't want to be one. So I don't take offense to it. I do appreciate the effort of folks that do that, but people don't need to, right? I mean, I volunteered to do my time in the military, and I'm happy that it's over. I mean, I did a couple decades, 2 decades. So, I'm happy with that, but I don't get offended either.
I don't get offended. It just makes me feel awkward because, like you said, I chose to do it. I wanted to do it. So, I mean,
yeah. And it just remind them of that. Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
Thank you. But I did it for you. Just like I'm sure that you do things for your family, do things for your kids. I mean, it truly is what we learn over time is that, service to your nation is about, the ethos of what that nation is, freedom, all of those type of things is really what it pans out to be. So.
But my dad is a Vietnam vet, and I heard stories and talked to him about what he went through and his guys went through when they came back. And, it's nice for them to hear it. So I can see both sides of it. It's just for me, because like I just feel awkward because I was in during peacetime, so I feel like I really didn't do anything. I was just there playing games, having fun.
You still served, right?
I know. But,
I mean, you had a job. Your job at that time was to train the people around you. And some of those people that you touched, best way I can always say to people, because I get this a lot too, right? The combat veterans stand up, I went to combat. And it's like, okay, cool, man. High five. But here's the reality. You probably touched somebody or had an impact on somebody that then later on in life.
It's better. Yeah. Impact.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you think about what we did truly in life, I mean, when I think about the military, what I truly did is I impacted the people around me. You know what I mean? Like that's what I did. And we became a family. And now do I not just have a family of, my family, my close relatives, all that. And I now have this group of 70, 80, 90, 100, whatever that size is of people that I served with. And I have people that when I was in the infantry, that we didn't go to war back then, man. You know what I mean? Like we were jumping on airfields and sleeping in whoobies and big spooning and small spooning because it was freezing out there. But I don't, yes, I have a little bit different relationship with them than I do with somebody that, that I've deployed with overseas, but that they're still my boys, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're still guys that I grew up with. So anyway, sorry,
all right.
I rambled.
That's all right. Back to the coffee squad. What are you drinking tonight? Because we haven't talked about that yet.
Well, here's the thing. The whole thing with you guys switching it to nighttime now. So like right now I'm drinking a water from the Alps of the mountains, and it is.
Oh, so you're drinking water from Sandhill.
I'm drinking water. I'm a Jake right now. Like Jake's not here. I figured the right thing to do is to, support him in his non-coffee drinking ways to drink water, because if I drink coffee right now, I would still be up until next week when the podcast happened. You know what I mean?
I don't believe that. As long as you had your career in the military and as much coffee as I'm sure you drank, you could probably have a cup of coffee right now and go lay down and go to sleep.
Okay, so I don't know why this turned into an interrogation, right? I mean, can I get peanuts and water, please? Good times. Well, what are you drinking? I guess that's the question, and I cannot wait for this answer.
I am drinking in Jake's honor, since he's once again missing in action, a La Croix sparkling guava water.
I don't even know what you just said there, but listen, that was take that word down to Honduras and say it. You're gonna come out with a wife. You got what I'm saying? You feel me?
Yeah, I already tried that experiment. I'll pass.
Well, good, man. Well, I'm glad that you're still in your fouchoué. I don't even know what the right word is, but that thing.
I did have many cups of Black Rifle Coffee Company's Just Black today, however.
This is what I will tell you. I have become a little bit more of a snob. It's just a scotch, not a lot, but just a scotch. I transitioned from just like K cups and stuff like that to now I get a coffee press now. Like I went full right. So I buy beans, so every morning, man. Oh, it is like, honestly, it's night and day. It is night and day drinking, drinking K cup and then pouring that. Like you
get your French press with your fresh grind beans and you go to get a cup of coffee from a gas station or something. You're going to be like, oh no.
Yeah. It's like, I just want to stick my nose in the glass and just leave it there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I can't smell nothing but coffee all day, but let me tell you what, it's delicious.
You're coming to the dark side. I have somebody with me. It's good to see.
I mean, but like I said, just a little bit, right? Like mine's, I'm not gonna tell you what mine is. It's definitely not like, yours, fouchoué with a hint of pineapple or whatever weird fruit that you have in it this week. Mine's from the mountains and the bean trees of Honduras. Okay, let's move on to the top news articles today.
Okay, interesting. Interesting segue there, Ray, with your little pinky up.
I didn't want to give you time. I saw the look.
You didn't want me to respond to that.
Yeah. No. So what you got? What's your first article for this week?
Well, the economy lately. I know I listened to the radio today and they were talking about how it's, gas prices are at an all-time high. Food, products are at an all-time high. And the cost, the wages are rising, but it's really not comparable to how much the rest of the cost of everything is. So we may be getting paid more, but as far as the cost of goods, it's not comparable. So you're really not gaining anything by having more. And it's interesting to see how much things have changed over the last, year and a half, 2 years since we started this thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's somewhat scary, right? I mean, the amount of gas and food, like you talked about alone, is a pretty dramatic increase. I mean, we've seen the increase of minimum wage, right? Look, I'm not an economic guy. I don't profess to be one at all, but raising those, the minimum wages and like all of these. And then now you start to read it and you start to look at it. And now you can't get workers to go in and work even after doing that. Right. Because we have there's such a disparity between how much somebody makes and then how much they're going to spend. And, I was talking to a buddy the other day to segue before I get into this article. And he's a farmer. So he spends a lot of time, tomatoes, potatoes, tomatoes, potatoes, and then other types of goods. And the interesting thing is he is not actually charging more to sell.
Yeah.
Right. It's that increase of, like shipping right now. I don't know if you noticed, but the amount of shipping like is going up. So we know it's going to increase. That's USPS, FedEx, like all of that. Right. So now a company that may be able to sell this thing for this much now is going to tax you, because that's just how it works. Right. If it's going to cost me more money, I still got to make my percentage. So you're going to pay.
I was going to bring that up as both being part of, small businesses.
Yeah.
We take as much as we can, but we're going to pass on our increases to the customers because we have to, or else we won't be making any money.
Yeah. I mean, from a business perspective, yeah. I mean, you have to. So what I find interesting is I think you have to spend time, in your local community. And we've been saying this a long time. And I mean, small businesses, I don't even know what the rate of small businesses going out of business right now. And I'd be interested, maybe I'll research that prior to the next, the next podcast we have. But it would seem to me that things are costing more. I'm sure there's a lot of small businesses that were just making enough money are now having a really, really, really hard time, staying afloat. And that's scary. Right. And I wanted to read this real quick, which I didn't even know this, but so this is from Forbes, and this is back at the end of October. And basically says, is the U.S. already in recession? And they went to a professor at Dartmouth and they kind of asked this question, and basically his response is, based on analysis of key consumer data, the professor argues that the economic downturn could rival the 2008 financial recession. And here's why. And he gave a couple of reasons. Economic crash, right? We're currently under. So consumer data is ominous. We don't really know what it looks like right now. Unemployment is artificially low. Is unemployment a big deal? Like, on LinkedIn right now, it's like everybody's saying, everybody's leaving their jobs. I've been seeing YouTube videos, like all kinds of stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like, is everybody quitting their jobs? Like nobody works anymore. That's what you think. Economists previously missed 3 indicators, microeconomic issues. And then he kind of talks about like the stock market, and then how people are now using their money to go into the stock market, and then what they're buying, such as like Bitcoins and like all these other things, which is completely different than what we've seen in the past. So
I'm trying to process what you said. You used some 3-syllable plus words in there.
Yeah, so I do that a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, you forget.
Maybe Mickey Mouse style's better.
Can you talk like Mickey Mouse?
Oh, see, you about made me do it. I was about to just try. Okay, no, I can't do it. I tried. Was that kind of like him? Like he was sick that day.
Close. Yeah,
he was sick. He had the flu that day. Okay.
Well, you're talking about the travel and stuff. I mean, not the travel, but the shipping and stuff. That was one of my other things I was reading about, was the delay at the shipping container ships out on the coast or West Coast. And even if they do get them unloaded, they're having a hard time finding truck drivers for it.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, right? You're trying to lower the age or something right now to like 18.
It's like a cascading effect, and I don't know. I don't know where everybody's at, because I mean, I know I need to work. You might not need, and I know how you are, but you might not.
Hey man, I got the, thank you for tax money, by the way.
But I mean, I still need to work. I don't know how some of these people are not working and why it's so hard to find people. But I know around my area, everybody's hiring. Like you can walk into almost any location, a restaurant, gas station, retail store, whatever, and they're all hiring. Oh. And I don't know. I don't know where everybody went. It's almost like people just decided to stop working.
Well, I mean, is it worth it? You know what I mean? Like one of the things for me is, even if I'm making $150,000 a year, 250, 350, I don't care what it is, some astronomical amount of money. If I'm not enjoying that job, or my boss sucks, easiest way to say it, right? I don't have like, the normal things that I need. I mean, you got to remember we just went through a pandemic, right? So you literally, I think what people got for the first time, the goods and the bads of what that thing kind of brought to us is that people kind of focused on what I don't know, but I'm thinking like my mom and my dad, where yes, work was important, but family was way more. I know prior to the pandemic, I don't think that was the case, man. I think most people were very, very focused on work. Got to work to make money, 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 money. We'll get to family. And I truly believe that what's happened is you're starting to see people that are more focused on family. They're starting to grow really strong relationships with people in general, right? Some, not all. And then now I'm in a work environment where, I just don't like the way my boss thinks, ethically, morally, whatever those things are. And I don't need to be here because I would rather be at home with my family, happy, just living day to day than, working this job and just grinding away for somebody that honestly doesn't care about me. And I think that that's some of what you're seeing, not all, but some.
Well, no, I think it correlates with kind of the younger workforce, the younger generation growing into the workforce. And I read an article, it's probably been months now, so I don't know where it was at, but they're talking about how this upcoming generation and maybe even the millennial generation, they're more about experiences than tangible items.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that has a lot to do with it too. They're downsizing, living in tiny houses. They would rather, go travel the world than work 65 hours a week for.
I mean, think of us. I mean, I think the status check for most people, I mean, we do it every single day. If you live in a 1-bedroom house, you ain't got no money, right? I mean that we almost look at what kind of car do you drive? Yeah. You got a what? A Pinto, right? Like you got a Geo Tracker, and they make those things still. You know what I mean? Like we look at people based off their physical things, not understanding that what I believe the new generation is really bringing is kind of the backside of that, where they don't care. They're living inside of their means. It's like my son. My son knows exactly how much money he has. He knows exactly what he's got to do to live inside his means, and he's not going to do any more than that. And I applaud him for that, because the reason I take and did the things that I did is because the way that I live my life, right? I mean, obviously things have changed a lot for me now versus, in the military, but I mean, nobody taught me when I entered in the military how to, my mom taught me how to write a check. She surely did not help me understand like all the things that were going to happen when I joined the military and the amount of debt that I would go into and having, whatever star card and these things that, that you get. And I don't blame the military either, but nobody's teaching me those things. It took me 10, 11 years to figure out, hey man, at some point you're going to retire, you're going to leave this job, or worse than that, something could happen to you. Who's taking care of your family, man? Like, you know what I mean? And then things change, and then you revert back to, and for me, it took me getting hurt to then revert back and say, man, family is it. Like, I've got to focus my time on that. And not everybody, gets that. And I think the pandemic, again, I go back to that because I do think that there's a piece of that is electrifying people in general, that they want to work at a good company. They want to feel like they matter. They want to feel like they're impacting people positively. Right. Because it's not just all about the money. And I think for some it's like that. And for others, it's not. So just my take.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about that, money, spending money, we need to talk about Black Friday, because it is literally like, right now, in fact, I was going to skip this podcast because I wanted to focus in on buying me some nice shoes. You know what I mean? I saw a pair of Uggs yesterday. Really like, man, they got the little laces on top. I'm kidding, man. I'm not buying Uggs. Hold on, my Uggs.
You're more of a stiletto guy, aren't you?
I had to fix my Uggs. Sorry.
Yeah.
So with Black Friday, there's just a couple things, and I want to talk about Black Friday and kind of what you do. But some of the things we always talk about, this being prime candidate Black Friday to Christmas for security concerns, right? We always talk about this. Phishing campaigns, you're going to be receiving. And listen, if somebody sends you an email and they say, man, listen, I have a beautiful iPad for you, $25. All you could do is click this link. What do you do, Will?
Got to click the link. No, don't click the link.
That's right. Don't click the link, man. Don't click the link.
Well, just a quick story before we go on to this. I got an email today from a Captain John White from
Strong name.
from the U.S. services fighting in Syria, and he had come across $11.4 million that he wanted to share with me.
Oh,
so I may be rich. Fingers crossed.
Okay, well, I mean, hey, well, here's an interesting part. I actually got an email from somebody overseas as well that needed money, right? Like they actually need money to support their father. So maybe we can link up and get those two kind of chatting a little bit, and they can share money side by side. You know what I mean?
That might
it's not
work
always
better.
about you, Will.
Yeah. Well,
it's not about you and your foo-foo coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, foo-foo coffee gets expensive.
Your little sippy poos, as we like to call them.
All right, back to Black Friday.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so just a reminder for everybody: if you get and I love the company, the phishing campaigns in the company. To me, I say it's very simple. If you get a link in email, don't click it. Just don't click it. If you want to know what the thing is, so let's say you get something from a bestbuy.org, which doesn't exist, right? And it's like some TV then go to Best Buy, like you type it in, bestbuy.com, search for that TV or that thing and make sure that it is a real thing, right? Don't copy paste it into the browser, don't click it, none of that stuff. So that's the first thing, because you don't want nefarious actors to be getting your information. And we see that all the time. The other thing is gift cards. Gift cards is always the kind of the scam during this time period. So just remember that. Make sure that if you're going to be, getting money back for those and doing all those type of things, that you just think about that before you go out there and start doing that. Just because somebody offers you one in email, don't click it. Right? Don't go to it. Don't believe them. If it's truly them, they will contact you a different way, and it's not going to be through email. Those are just ads or text messages. Yeah, that's a good one. You want to talk about text messages?
Well, I've seen an uptick of smishing SMS, phishing, smishing campaigns lately. Especially like I have AT&T, and I'll get stuff from AT&T, which is not AT&T. Oh, you got a $50 gift card. Click this link to claim, and no, they don't do that. It's just not something that they do. So much like your emails, don't click the link. If you get a text message from a suspicious or unknown number, don't click the link.
That's right.
If you have any questions, you can always call the company.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's amazing how many people fall for this every single year. So now back over to Black Friday, just in general, the positive sides of Black Friday is, Black Friday sales are now, like, I don't even know why they call it Black Friday anymore, because it's I think we started like in October, right?
Well, they are starting earlier and earlier, but I think one of the main reasons this year for the push is because of the supply chain issues.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I go to the grocery store and I can't get stuff that I usually buy because they don't have it, and so.
Well, dude, if you need those adult diapers, bro, I got them here, man. We can get you a pair.
I don't want to go to your stash. I know how important they are to you. So.
Well done. Well done, Will. Well done. Okay, that was well. That was well done. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And no, you're not getting mine. Anyway, so if, you can start to shop online now. I'd recommend that you do. Will really brought up the main reasons because of shipping and everything else. Make sure, again, people during this time period like to, walk down the street. I guess the best way to put it, run up, grab your package and kind of take off. So just remember those type of things. I know from a gaming side, because there's probably lots of people that want to buy Xboxes and PlayStations and PCs and all this. Look, still a global shortage. I think we talked about that back in first couple episodes that I was on about the chip shortages and just kind of how that's going to impact. It's still impacting us. I mean, Xboxes and PlayStations are still not available.
Same with new vehicles. Having hard time.
Yeah, so it's like everything. And then now when we go back to the thought process of, and maybe not for Xboxes and PCs, but we'll say like cars, major purchases, if we are entering into a recession, that's probably not a good idea right now, right? It's probably not a good idea. I mean, I can tell you right now, we looked at a vehicle just to look at one the other day. What we had just bought my wife, and I went and looked at how much it is. It was like 6,000 more right now. Yeah. And part of the reason why is because, the chip shortage and how much more they're getting, you're having to pay for it. So just start thinking about that. Be careful the sites you go on, right? Make sure that it's a reputable seller that you're buying from. Don't go to eBay and just start buying things unless you got money and you want to spend it, but nobody wants to spend 700% more for an item. Wait a couple months, it'll be back.
You know how it is. You got to get the hot item, the hot toy of the year, though.
Yeah. Well, I did get you that Buzz Lightyear. I wasn't going to tell you early for Christmas, but congratulations, I got him. To infinity and beyond.
I'm so psyched. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for that thing.
I was supposed to get it for you last year. I forgot.
It's all right. I'm used to being forgotten. It's all right.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible co-host. I should have done better. I didn't do better. So I slapped myself this year. They don't put chips in those, so it was pretty easy. Well, to be fair, there's a whole part missing, but I just took one of those old school recorders and I did the voice to infinity and beyond.
I can't wait to hear that. Yeah.
I just taped it to the backside of them, but so it is a little janky.
Did you do the laser?
No, I didn't do that. But you know what? I can go do it now. Okay. I can go do it now. Right. I'll take care of that. And I'll even try to figure out if I can put a drawstring on them or something, because I know you like to do that. Used to do the yo-yos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's perfect.
All right. So one thing I think we should mention, Black Friday, there are some people who are going to go out to the brick and mortar stores and go shopping. It's one of those things. Make sure you pay attention to your surroundings. Try to park if it's dark out in well-lit areas away from bushes and stuff like that where somebody could hide. Don't leave your belongings, your purse especially, your cell phone, or even your newly purchased items in the vehicle where people can see them, because a lot of these crimes are going to be crimes of opportunity. They're going to just smash and grab. So just some things to think about. Keep in mind when you are out there in the Black Friday frenzy that it is. I know you'll be out there bright and early going to Victoria's Secret. So
yeah, I mean, I've got to do what I got to do. Yeah. Don't hate me. I just buy them. I put them on eBay. Right. That's, what you
I'm
do.
going to step away from that one before we go down a dark road.
Well, good. All right. What's your next step? I'm sorry. I took that thing way right.
Well, I mean, we were talking about Black Friday, so that was kind of the main thing I think we're discussing today, right? I don't know if you have another one that you want to discuss.
No, I think we hit it pretty good, man. You can start buying stuff now. You should start buying stuff now. There's a global shortage. Don't trust anybody, right? Listen, everybody that's listening right now, I'm gonna get super close for you. And I know he can hear me, but hold on, let me see if I can mute him. I don't even trust Will with things that I go buy Black Friday. Okay, enough said. Okay, I know you didn't hear that, Will.
What happened, Ray? My mic cut, or my audio cut out.
Oh, wow, that's weird. Yeah, I was just telling him, how important it is to, to check prices. Use little app things and make sure you get the right thing. You know what I mean?
I'm the one who edits this, so I get to hear everything, right?
Wow, this is a little bit awkward. Maybe I should edit this week. No, never mind. I don't want to do that. Yeah, that's too much work.
Well, one last thing I do want to talk about it. I don't know if you heard, but Facebook has renamed itself to Meta.
Oh yeah, huh?
Is this like a Prince becoming a symbol, or
I don't know, man.
Puff Daddy becomes P Diddy, or isn't there some other stuff? I don't know.
Man, so many conspiracy theorists on this one. Like I saw the whole metaverse is kind of the broader scheme of this. Obviously, in my mind, immediately is security based, right? Because there's a difference between, right now Facebook has to count on Facebook Meta, whatever. I don't even know if they've renamed yet. I'm still confused on what's happening here, but they have to use other people for their things. So like Apple, Google, Microsoft, all that, right? Because everybody owns like a different type of app. And then, through that app, they have to follow those security guidelines and all that. I think what's most concerning, and we all know about Facebook, so I'm not saying anything out of the norm. What's most concerning to me is through the metaverse, what it seems, again, don't beat me up if I'm completely wrong, and I'm interested to see if somebody knows more than I, is if they make something that they own completely with no regulatory guidance over the top of that at all, then whose security guidelines are they following then? Big brain right there. That's what worries me. No. Yeah. You know what I mean?
They would be following their own or lack thereof. And I think that's, I know for a while there, I don't know if it's still going on because I don't keep up like I should, but I know for a while Facebook and Apple were kind of in a little argument, I guess, or disagreement over the security measures, because Apple prides themselves on their security and Facebook wanted to do a lot more tracking than what Apple wanted to allow them. I'm not sure how it was resolved. But it'd be interesting because I think Facebook would definitely be more willing to sell your information to the highest bidder.
Yeah, and I think that to me is the most important part, right? Like it's not. I absolutely have nothing wrong with. I mean, technology is where we're at, man. Like you're not getting away from it, right? I mean, heck, man, you could sign up for a random website to be on a newsletter, and you literally could get your stuff sold. You know what I mean? Like I mean, it's that's the age that we live in. I think with the algorithms of like Facebooks and the Googles and all the rest of them, the scary part is that that you're a profile now, right? Like, and they know. So if you've ever been, the thing always freaks me out is when I'm at home and I'm talking about something, I'm not even on my phone. I'm not even on my phone, man. Like watching a movie or I'm doing something, and then I like pick up my phone and then I look at like YouTube, and then there's like an ad on there for the thing I was just talking about. And I'm like, what's happening right now? Or go to Facebook and there's an ad on Facebook or something. That type of stuff freaks me out, because it's like, man, how do you know? And part of it may just be that profile that they've created. But it just seems weird when that stuff happens. So I think this metaverse thing, that's what concerns me most. There are protections there's supposed to be protections for your personal data right now. Everybody needs to pay attention to what this looks like when we transition into this new metaverse, to make sure that those protections still exist and that you feel comfortable with it, because you're going to have to opt in at some time, right? There's going to be something that's going to happen. It could be a 75-page terms of service, but at some point you're going to have to agree to it. Make sure you know what that is.
And one thing I've noticed with those 75-page terms of agreement, or almost any update, it seems like my security measures revert back to the standard one. So that's one thing to remember, is every time you update one of these social media apps, to go back into your security and get your measures where you want them. Because I've noticed that since, I've really started paying attention to it, that they do revert back to factory setting, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I do think that, so away from the security piece of it, because that is my biggest thing. Outside of that, I mean, it's like VR stuff, right? They bought Oculus a long time ago. We knew we've seen movies with this happening, right? Where you're like hanging out with 6 of your friends and you're playing, drinking and playing cards, but you're all in your own living. I mean, all of these are things that we knew were coming based off of. I even think the Jetsons did it like in a cartoon or something. You know what I mean? I mean, like it's something that we knew was going to happen at some point. And I think they're making the move to bring that to reality. So, I mean, for those that enjoy that kind of stuff, I prefer to sit in a room with people and talk to them. That's just the way I am. But it's okay. I mean, some people would rather be, like you, Teletubby in the room. And also, why do you always choose the purple one?
I don't know what you're talking about. What?
No, you don't know what I'm talking about. Why do you always send me pictures of you in that Teletubby costume, the purple one?
Teletubbies. Oh,
we want to pretend that we don't know what the Teletubbies are in here. Okay, cool. Never mind. Yeah. Hey, he never does that. Anyway, but that's my only thing. What do you think about the metaverse from your perspective?
I mean, a part of me is like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not hiding anything. I don't really care. But then the conspiracy theorist in me goes, well, why do they want to know all this crap about me? Why do they want to know, what I'm looking at? I don't want anybody to know that as well. So, I'm kind of on that seesaw, teeter-totter, whatever you want to call it, of which side should I fall on. And I've really, with the exception of this podcast type stuff, I've really gone away from social media. I don't post anything hardly ever anymore. I don't do a lot with it. And it's just, I just got tired of it. It's during this pandemic and the last few years, 4, 5, 6 years, with the political turmoil and divisiveness. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I like to see what my friends are doing, but that's about it. So I guess you could say I'm a stalker on there, but I don't really post a lot because I really don't care.
Yeah. Well, I can see you're looking at me, by the way. It's just a little bit awkward. I got a cool little snitch app that I have that tells me. I don't know, why are you looking at my face 10 times a day? This one, I know this thing's majestic. This beard is beautiful, but
it's been so long since I've talked to you. I was starting to miss you.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Well, hey, Will, look, man, I'm stoked to be back. I can tell you that much. Hopefully next week, Jake will come back from whatever weird escapade that he's on right now out in the middle of thing. And I'm also kind of looking forward to see where this podcast continues to go as we continue in. So
yeah, just bear with us. There may be a few bumps in the road for the next few weeks while we're trying to figure it out. But I think once we get there, it's gonna take off to the next level.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at youtube.com. Just search the Coffee Squad Podcast. Or as always, you can go to coffeesquadpodcast.com. You can find all our content there. Shoot us an email, let us know how we're doing. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment on all our YouTube stuff. If you go to Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate us and comment. That's how they track on Apple. So it's important that you give us those ratings and make a comment as well. We will talk to you guys next week. Jake hopefully will be back. Like Ray said, hopefully he'll be back. He likes to, he is a little Houdini, disappeared
like
now
a
and
ninja.
then. So,
like a ninja.
Yeah. What was that one with Chris Farley? That's the ninja that I picture.
I'm okay with that. I mean, look, man, I know I put on a couple. I like to eat now. I mean, the military made me do physical fitness.
I was going along more of the clumsiness.
Okay, that's a lie. Like that's a lie. I'm a ballerina on my feet. You know what I'm saying?
But you could be like Poe, the panda. He was clumsy until he figured out he could use the clumsiness to his advantage.
Yeah, that's a lie. I don't even like where you're going with this conversation. Just end it here, Will. Okay,
it's black and white, just like a panda.
Oh.
All right, guys. See you next week.
All right, we'll see you guys.